I am the anti-professor, reporting from the infinite fringe. The nation of Georgia is a former Soviet republic located on the southern side of the Caucasus Mountains, next to Armenia, Azerbaijan, Russia, and Turkey, with a population of less than 4 million, but with crucial strategic significance because of its location. Its current disproportionate importance in world affairs is magnified greatly because Russia currently occupies, as it has since 2008, two of its regions, Abkhazia and South Ossetia, an unending source of bitterness not only between Russia and Georgia, but between Russia and the West, like a miniature version of the war in Ukraine. About a month ago, on October 26th, Georgia held a national election whose controversial outcome is still being processed through the world press. Today, I will review three international news articles about this election, two of them just published, contrasting their viewpoints. One is from the Washington Post, one from Al Arabiya English, one from Eurasianet. I will not side with one or the other. It is up to you to reach conclusions. The Washington Post has just published, on November 21st, a story headlined, Fearing War, Georgia Chooses a Return to Russia's Embrace. The article begins, After a contentious parliamentary election, Georgia, a small nation once part of the Soviet Union, finds itself sliding back into Russia's orbit, following decades of seeking greater integration with the West. Note the word choice, sliding. The ruling Georgian Dream Party, adopting a pro-Russian stance, declared victory in October's elections after winning 54% of the vote and running a campaign with a stark warning, align with the West and suffer Ukraine's fate. The article seems to find the outcome a bit puzzling, claiming, an overwhelming majority of Georgians, consistently over 80% in polls, support European integration and harbor little love for Moscow. The article uses the word party 11 times, 10 of which refer to the winning Georgian Dream Party, of which the article is consistently critical. The one reference to another party comes far down in the article when they quote, the leader of the For Georgia Party, Georgi Gakharia. My apologies if I said that wrong. This party came in fifth with 8% of the vote. Note that even the second place party, Coalition for Change, got only 11% of the vote, just over a fifth as much as Georgian Dream, a fact the Post never mentions. The four main opposition parties combined, though, got a much more substantial total of 38% and a similar share of parliamentary seats, still 16% behind the ruling party. Let's contrast the Post coverage with Al Arabiya English, an outlet owned by the Saudi Arabian government, which issued a straightforward, factual article shortly after the election. It begins, Georgia's ruling Georgian Dream Party received more than 54% of the vote in the country's parliamentary election on Saturday, the Election Commission said on Sunday, though the result was disputed by opposition parties. It goes on to note, ISFED, a Georgian election monitoring group, said it had registered violations including ballot stuffing, bribery, and voter intimidation that could have had an impact on the results, though it, quote, had not seen significant violations in the counting of votes. The article also states, the Electoral Commission hailed a free and fair election, but the country's four main opposition parties said they do not recognize the results, citing two exit polls that showed the opposition winning a majority of seats in parliament. The article also points out that Georgian Dream is a primarily rural party, less supportive of Europeanization than its main rivals. Electoral Commission data showed it winning by huge margins of up to 90% in some rural areas, though it underperformed in bigger cities. Georgian Dream says it wants Georgia to join the European Union, though Brussels says the country's membership application is frozen over what it says is Georgian Dream's authoritarian tendencies. Al Arabiya seems eager to paint itself neutral, going on to say Georgian Dream had pushed through a law on foreign agents and another curbing LGBT rights. Both drew strong criticism from Western countries, but were praised by some Russian officials. Okay, now let's turn to the third article by Eurasianet, which operated until 2016 under the auspices of George Soros's Open Society Foundations. Perhaps not surprisingly, its article is very hostile to Georgian Dream. Appearing on the same day as the Post article, November 21st, it gives a great deal of play to allegations the election was rigged. It leads with an incident where the opposition's representative on the Central Election Commission threw black paint on the commission's chairman, calling him a black stain, resulting in a brawl that delayed the finalization of the vote count. Eurasianet puts great emphasis on the opposition claims that marker pens used by voters bled through to the back of ballots, thus compromising voter confidentiality, claiming the election process is far from over as far as the opposition and a large part of Georgian society is concerned. A fight is underway in Georgian courts and in the streets to challenge continued rule of Georgian Dream, a now deeply entrenched governing elite built around the controversial persona of eccentric billionaire Bidzina Ivanishvili. It goes on to state, European and American observers documented numerous irregularities during the October 26th election, including cases of ballot stuffing, violent incidents in select precincts, voter impersonation, and vote buying. Contrast this with the Washington Post's coverage of the same issue. The opposition has rejected the election as stolen, but it does appear that the ruling party successfully capitalized on a fragmented opposition and Georgians' fear of war, aided by Russian disinformation and a patchy record from the West when it comes to supporting nations seeking to leave Russia's sphere of influence. In other words, the Post's take is that the election wasn't stolen but was manipulated by Russia, aided by a lack of action by the West, which the article is implicitly criticizing. The Post's framing revolves around the idea that the Georgian people were essentially blackmailed into supporting a pro-Russian party. Its article also has a negative tone toward Georgian Dream, but not as much as in the Eurasianet article, which implies the party is guilty of out-and-out fraud, though it doesn't say so definitively. The Eurasianet article never mentions Russia, while the Post article seems eager to blame Russia for an election outcome its byline writer, Mary Ilyushina, appears, like Eurasianet, to find regrettable. Note that Eurasianet and Al Arabiya's articles are unbylined. So what do you think? Is one article more or less valuable than the others? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll link to all three in the description. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click like, and if you want to see more of my material, click subscribe. Both clicks are absolutely free and help my work reach more people. If you know someone else who'd be interested and could share it with them, I'd be even more grateful. Thanks once again.